Yeah, I've seen a good response. I think when you have a performance in a game like that, sometimes you can, players, and we can all react in different ways. We've tried to be quite clear on what we want, and I've seen a good response in the sense of no hangover from the game, no emotional reaction, negative emotional reaction to the performance. We hope to see a positive emotional reaction. So I've seen evidence of that in training. Whether that comes through in the game, look, that's slightly unknown at this stage. But training's been good. The lads have been focused, and I think they're ready for what's ahead rather than looking backwards.
Looking at it from a positive perspective, Newcastle 4 points better off at this stage of the season than that classic entertainers team all those years ago. Different league now, different times now, but how much does that put into perspective this side's rise in recent months?
Yeah, I think it does. The lads have been, bar the Aston Villa game, as I said earlier, I think the lads have been so consistent, and it's such a tough league because you can drop your levels by a couple of percent, as we did at Aston Villa, you get punished. So mentally very strong, really good physical capacity to deliver what we've wanted them to do, and now we have to go again, and we have to go again now at the crucial stage of the season.
Opta has the chances of Newcastle making the Champions League at 81.4%. I won't ask you for a percentage, but how do you see it? What chance do Newcastle have of making the Champions League?
I've got no idea. I've not looked at all that kind of statistical data. That's not for me to do. What is for me to do is to try and make sure we perform against Tottenham. So all my energy this week's gone onto that, and that is my way of working, and let's see where we end up.
Just on Tottenham, how much do the players relish? We've talked about how big an occasion it is, how big a game it is potentially on Sunday. How much do you all relish that big game feel, that big game occasion?
Well, I think it's what we crave as professional sports people. You want the big games, you want the big occasions, and you want it to mean something. So we're determined to express ourselves in the best way possible. We want the occasion to galvanise us. We don't want to play with any fear or any restraints. We want to give the best us.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
Andrew?
Eddie, good morning.
Good morning.
How were you with the players and the immediate aftermath of that in the game?
I think I was reflective, really. I think I spoke honestly at the end of the game, and I think honesty is very important, and the players sometimes need to hear that honest opinion of what I think I'd witnessed. There's always a collective responsibility. It's never just about the players. There's always a collective onus. I always want it to be we, not me and the players here, whether we win or whether we lose. So we're in it together. We didn't perform, and now we have to respond.
Are you absolutely clear in your mind why the team didn't perform?
I don't ever believe there's one reason to anything, whether it's success or disappointment. I believe there's collective reasons, and I think we've analysed those.
The Spurs game, would it be fair to characterise it as the most important league game of the season so far, given its timing and where Spurs are in the league?
Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with anyone saying that. I think it is. It's a cliche, but it's our next game, so it is the most important. It's what's ahead of us that's important. It's not what's behind. I think we have risen to these types of games this season. As we said earlier, when we reflect back on certain other key moments of the season, hopefully we can find another gear again.
Going back to the Villa game, one reason or one difference was that Sean Longstaff didn't start. Can we assume that he's back fit, and how important is he to the midfield?
Yeah, he's over his illness. He's trained well this week. I've always maintained he's a hugely important part of our midfield. Both in and out of possession, he's a very intelligent footballer. So I think a lot of his off-the-ball work probably goes unnoticed, just because he goes about it in an unfussy way. And on the ball, he's got a really good way of keeping the ball for your team, which is an invaluable quality. And he's got an eye for a really progressive pass as well, so he helps us go through opponents' team structures. So, yeah, I really like Sean.
Yesterday we learned that 2 more games are being switched, their kickoffs are being switched for live TV broadcasts, which I believe brings the total games this calendar year to 22 out of 25 games will have been switched for live TV. What does that say about the team, the fact that TV companies are backing you in that way?
Well, yeah, I think from our perspective we get used to kicking off at all sorts of different times. It's part of the job. I'm pleased people enjoy watching us play, and I'm pleased that we're playing in these types of games, and we're a team sort of in demand to watch. So that's I think that's reflective, hopefully, of a team that's performing well.
St James's Park has been selected as a potential venue for Euro 2028. Do you know of plans to improve the stadium, make any changes that would potentially be in line with that?
No, I don't. I'm all for any improvements that we can make to the supporter experience, player experience at St James's Park. No surprise to me that it's been nominated. It's an incredible place to play football.
Thanks, Eddie.
No problem.
Okay, got a written, so we'll do Sundays as well. Start with Damien.
Eddie, as a manager of a team that's doing well and not losing many, do those setbacks almost hit you harder as a result of that because they're so infrequent?
I'm not sure hit you harder is the right word. I'm not sure. Losing is I always say it's a horrible feeling, whether you're feeling it regularly or whether you don't feel it as regularly as that. Every defeat is unique. Every experience you have, whether you're, there's ways to lose, and I think that the optimum way to lose is you perform really well and you're unlucky to experience defeat. I felt against Aston Villa that was probably not the case. We felt we didn't perform and we lost, and that's the worst taste of defeat that you can have. So that's why we're fiercely determined to try and respond this weekend.
And is this game in some respects an acid test of how far you've come in terms of where you want to be? These are the games that you're going to have to win to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think there's a feeling that these games test you in all sorts of different ways, mentally, physically, technically, tactically. You have to be right, and we're playing against a very good team with dangerous players that can hurt you if you're not right in whatever structure that is. So I think we've responded really well in these games previously this season. I think we've been lifted by the experiences we've had. Hopefully that's the case again, but certainly going to be a tough test.
Jordan.
You mentioned earlier that this is a big game because only the games are run out. Would you concede that Newcastle are in probably a top 4 battle now? And obviously you've stayed away from mentioning European football, but because the games are running out, would you say that you are in that race now for the top 4?
No, I'll let you say that. We're concentrating on trying to win as many points as we can. Yes, the games are running out. We don't have many opportunities left to maximise our position. But certainly when we're playing the teams in and around us, we know the importance of it. But we're chasing and battling always against sort of ourselves, really, to try and be the best team that we can be, and that's what we're going to try and be again this weekend.
Just on a different subject, Harrison Asprey played for the under-21s. I think that was his first appearance in Newcastle colours. How much of injuries impacted his time at the club so far, and is there potential him to be on the matchday squad before the end of the season?
Slightly impacted him, yeah. I think he's had a minor hamstring problem a couple of times, which has just dented his ability to train with us, really. Pleased to see him come through the game. I thought he played very well. I thought he showed his qualities. He can potentially, between now and the end of the season, be in the matchday squad. But he's very much one that we're developing and looking forward to trying to maximise his talents.
Thanks. Craig?
It seems a long time ago now, Eddie, but this fixture last season was actually the first game of the Saudi ownership. You came in a couple of weeks later. Can you just talk to us about the differences with regards to the club and the team you inherited, and just the whole feel around the place, because the club and the team obviously feel in a very different place?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're working day to day, you lose sight of change over a longer period of time. And although it's probably been a short period of time, really, in terms of football, I feel the club has changed a lot. The training ground, obviously, huge improvements has happened internally. The playing squad naturally evolves. The feeling has changed, certainly from these press conferences when I first arrived, which was very much, of course, associated with our league position, relegation based, and now it's a totally different tone and theme. And sometimes it's good just to, for a split second, reflect back on those changes and be proud of where we've come and the speed of our journey, really. But that's a split second, because it always has to be about what's ahead, and what's ahead of us now is an opportunity to finish the season as strongly as we can and try and achieve something really special.